Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 fragrances that I've tried this year so far, so stay tuned for that. If you like top 10 lists, fragrance reviews, clone comparisons, and first impressions, hit that subscribe button for more great content. So we are about halfway through the year. I've tried a lot of fragrances, and I thought I would do sort of a collective of the best fragrances that I've tried, top 10, which actually, when I was looking back on all the fragrances I've tried, was a pretty challenging thing to do. I have tried a lot of really good fragrances, some not so good, some a little disappointing, but some really, really great. And you know what? Let's get right into the list. So the first one on the list is roasted green tea. Now, to me, this is everything I was hoping from the new Maison Martin Margiela fragrance. I was really hoping that it would be a little bit more like this particular fragrance, but it was not. I found that one to be quite floral, so that was a little bit disappointing. But roasted green tea is a really nice tea fragrance. It does open up a little bit frothy, a little bit like matcha, and a little bit nutty. But it does sort of smooth out into a nice green tea fragrance. It does come across different, and it does have that nice relaxing property that I do associate with stronger or tea dominant fragrances. That's one thing that personally I look for when I'm looking for a tea fragrance, most of the time anyways. There are some that don't really have that property, like Russian tea, which is also really great, but it's also very creative. But a lot of these tea fragrances have this property, and I really like that about it, and this one is no exception. Really nice green tea fragrance. If you like a little bit of matcha, you might really also enjoy the opening. It does become a little bit more like an actual green tea later on. So the next one, a little bit more fun. Number 9 spot is Ramune. If you like fragrances that are fizzy, have this soda pop vibe, Ramune is a great fragrance. And especially if you've been to Japan, if you've tried out Ramune, you probably get a little nostalgia, a little bit of flashback of those memories when you try this fragrance out, because it does smell a lot like Ramune. Fizzy, has this little bit of a bubblegummy vibe and a little bit of lemon to go along with it. I do feel like it's a little bit more of a blend of a couple different kinds of Ramune, not just the original, although I do get a lot of that strength of the original in this fragrance, but it definitely has those nice properties to it. And if you love a fizzy soda pop fragrance, even if you've never tried Ramune, very good one to try out because it does have that very nice fizzy fresh vibe. So it is a little bit more fun, but I still think it's a wearable fragrance for more than just fun. I think it is more of a casual fragrance though, and it does have a nice sweet fizzy appeal. So number 8 spot, it would be the number 8 spot, Vanilla Orchid. This so far anyways is by far the best one that I have tried from Precious Liquid. I really like this one because it does get that sweet tooth, that gourmand tooth that I do have when it comes to fragrances, and does remind me a lot of maybe like an Oreo cream filling. It's not an exceptionally complex fragrance, but it is nicely done, nicely rendered. And I think there's this Vanille Fatale or something like that by Tom Ford, which right in the opening does feel a lot like an Oreo cream cookie, but then it becomes very, very feminine as it moves into the mid and the dry down. To me, this one takes that nice Oreo cream filling opening and sticks with it for basically the whole fragrance. Very, very nicely done. It is a little bit linear, so if you don't like the fragrance on the opening, you're probably not going to like it. It's not exceptionally complex if you like complex fragrances, but it's really nicely done, sweet gourmand fragrance. It is another one like Vanille Fatale that is marketed towards women. I think that's a bit of a mistake. It should be a unisex, as I feel that almost every gourmand fragrance is unisex, but it is definitely more of a sweet fragrance. So if that's not your thing, you definitely won't like it. Number 7 spot. Was happy to finally try this one out by Xerjoff, and that is Herba Pura. And a lot of people have talked about this one. A lot of people talked about this one for spring, summer. Could definitely see this for a nice spring fragrance. But some people swear by it for summer. And it is this really nice, fruity, candied fragrance. It does have a little bit of a bowl of Skittles vibe going on, or a sweet bowl of candied fruits. I don't necessarily pick out any specific fruit. That's why it does give off this fruit bowl vibe. And it does remind me a lot of a fragrance Essence by Herba Parfum. Now, their fragrance did come second. but it is very similar. It does have a really nice semi-sweet, semi-musky dry down as well. So it does have a little bit of evolution. It's not just this fruit cocktail opening that doesn't change at all. It does certainly change. Performance is very good. It is pretty beast mode, and that's maybe for me the main reason why I was a little skeptical that it would be such a good summer fragrance, because it's very sweet and very strong. But like I said, some people really swear by it, and I've never really worn it in the heat, so I can't personally say. But really, really nice fragrance. I do see why people like it so much. I do like the bottle too. It is a little bit more unique, while still being consistent to the Xerjoff brand. So it's the same but different. So I think it's a little bit fuzzy or something like that. Does look really nice. But I did definitely enjoy that one. Now the next one on the list, that is number 6 spot, is Rive Nuit. I know some people were really surprised I like this one so much. Some people were surprised because it's been on more than a couple of my lists, but this was a really, really great fragrance from Navitus. And at least for me personally, I have not smelled a fragrance like this one, so it does smell truly original. That whipped cream accord, that citrus cream accord, is really, really nice. It does have this really nice sensual touch while still being fresh, while still being easy to wear during the day, but also it is something that, because it has that sweet creamy accord, transitions nicely into a spring or a summer night for sure. And I think it is supposed to be a little bit more of a summery kind of date fragrance, and it does have that kind of a little bit of that sensuality, a little bit of that appeal to it. Really do enjoy this one. I got to give my hats off to Chaos for that one. I know he was the creative director with that one, and it is one of my favorite from the Navitus line. Nicely done there. Really enjoyed that one, and if you do get the chance to get a sample of it, check it out. Very nice, creamy, kind of feels like a little bit of like a lime whipped cream in the opening. Nice citrusy burst there too, and a nice amount of freshness, and just very, very nice all around. So I really do enjoy that one. And now we are into the top 5. So number 5, Patchouli Intense. This is the first fragrance that I found I did like by Parfums Nikolai. And I do like some patchouli fragrances, some I don't. I'm a little hit or miss for me. But this is a very patchouli forward fragrance. And it does remind me a little bit of a more kind of pure patchouli oil, although not full blown, because I find that the pure oil can be a little bit off-putting for some people, myself included. I'm not always the biggest fan of pure patchouli, but I do like patchouli in fragrance. Not chocolatey, and it's not at all smelling like marijuana or anything like that, but it does have this nice edge to it, a little bit of spice, and it does come across really, really nice. And for me, it's one of the best patchouli dominant fragrances, especially one that's not a sort of chocolatey patchouli. So if you think about like an Amen that's got this sort of chocolatey vibe to it, not what's going on with this one. This is a little bit more rugged, a little bit more masculine, without being too rough. It's just, to me, it's just right. Very nice, very intense patchouli vibe with that one. So the next one, number 4, Oud Vanille by Mancera. Now this one I was very, very happy with. This one opens up very spicy, woody, just a little bit of sweetness, but it's a very nice woody, spicy fragrance. As it dries down, it starts to transition more into a nice vanilla fragrance, and I did get this really nice toasted vanilla vibe that reminds me of Wicked Good, which is my favorite part of that fragrance. In the dry down, you get this Madagascar and vanilla, which apparently is also in Oud Vanille. So you get that really nice toasted vanilla vibe. And to me, if you like a woody, spicy fragrance that's going to transmit or transmorph or, change into something more, a little bit more like a toasted sweet vanilla, great fragrance. So it does have good performance, as most Manceras do. It does have a little bit of complexity there. Has sort of a nice woody, spicy, masculine opening that transitions into this nice, sensual, toasted vanilla that I absolutely, absolutely love. So I love this Madagascar vanilla that's used in this Mancera fragrance. It is the best vanilla in my opinion. It's just so, so, so good. The next one, Pink Marc du Champagne Truffle. Now, when I actually did the first impression of this one, on my actual sample, I guess it was too long to put the truffle on, so I didn't really see the word truffle there, but it does smell a lot like chocolate truffles in the opening. Very, very gourmand, very much this chocolate truffle vibe, which smells a lot like, see, I've totally forgot what it is again, but there's this other fragrance that has this chocolate truffle vibe. And one of these days I will remember what it is, because I know I put it on my top 10 gourmand list because it is a fantastic fragrance. But this one, very similar in the opening. It has this sweet, little bit rouge truffle vibe to it, very chocolatey. There is a boozy note, which, I don't pick up very much in the opening, but as this transfers into the mid, I start to get a lot more of that booziness. It becomes this nice, boozy, chocolatey fragrance. Very, very good. Very well done. Definitely worth the try if you like the idea of something boozy and chocolatey. Check that one out. Hopefully you will not be disappointed. Personally, I was very, very pleasantly surprised, especially because I was expecting that maybe it would be a little bit fresher just because of the word champagne. Maybe it would be a little bit more fresh, but it most certainly is not. Great gourmand fragrance. Now, next one that I tried out, and this was one that a lot of people talked about. I think Equality Fragrances brought this one to everyone's attention, and that is Vanille Havane by Les Indomitables. I'm saying that totally wrong, I'm sure, but this is another really great kind of gourmandy tobacco fragrance. Tobacco to me is not the most pronounced thing. It's very cocoa heavy and becomes this chocolatey vanilla concoction, which has a nice tobacco vibe to it without being a super tobacco forward fragrance, but really nice, has a little bit of that complexity to it, and it is one that I appreciate for that, but it also has this nice sort of sensual edge and really does border on being a bit of a gourmand fragrance. But if you like those sort of sweet tobacco-y fragrances and you haven't tried this one out, definitely one to try out. It is absolutely worth it. So, top of the list, number one, which one else could it be? If you've seen my first impressions and the fragrances that I've tried this year, what else could it be? What else could it be but Awake? Because I love the smell of coffee. I'm not really a coffee fan when it comes to drinking it. I actually don't drink coffee. I prefer to drink tea if I'm going to drink either. But this one is such a nice, beautiful coffee. It opens up with this really, really strong little bit of this Colombian coffee kind of a vibe. And it does, have this little bit of nutty sweetness that comes in as this one dries down. Performance is fantastic. And I find this is the biggest complaint I have about a lot of coffee fragrances or fragrances that are supposed to be coffee dominant is either the coffee is not that dominant, or if it is, it doesn't last more than a couple of hours before it becomes something else. And sometimes I want something that is just coffee. And Awake absolutely hits it out of the park with that one. If you want something that is coffee dominant through and through, that is the fragrance. Anyways, that is my top 10 list, guys, of fragrances that I've tried so far this year. Leave a comment down below. What is your favorite fragrance that you've tried so far this year? And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.